So the UPI share of WhatsApp is 0.4%. For CRED, it is almost 2%.
So CRED, from what I know, is one of those companies where, a lot of people have ESOPs. They get liquidity, and I think it will create another ripple effect of a lot of people going out and then starting.
But the journey of Kunal Shah, he managed to build 2 companies, yet to make profit, but that's fine. So he himself tweeted this, like he exited Freecharge. I think he sold it to Snapdeal at some $450 million or something. Then started CRED, and the vision with CRED was simply rewarding trustworthy people, actually. So I think when I got my first credit card in 2020, it used to be invite only kind of thing. I don't know how CRED works at the moment. So you get the feeling that you are entering some different kind of club. They used to do some P2P lending also, because now you will be lending to trustworthy people. I believe there used to be certain benchmark for credit score. Like your credit score needs to be better than this level. Only then you will be allowed on this CRED app. And as they say, as everyone says in India, if you want to make money, you have to probably start doing this trading thing, offering trading services, or just sell loans. So at the moment, I think they are also doing this, probably lending. They did P2P thing. They tried really hard to get some banking license or something. Let's see how it works from here on for CRED. But yeah, it's a big win for Kunal Shah. As they say, he opted a safe job in a big tech company and left startup, right?
So that's what. Now, when he had 2 companies, no one celebrated him. But now that he got a stable job, everyone's like going crazy.
Yeah, tweets were just brilliant. Like that, his parents will be really happy to see their son moving on to a stable job in USA. That used to be, this used to be very common thing in Bollywood in 2000 kind of movies, like somebody getting settled in USA, high paying job and all. So yeah, that's been the case. All right. We will also look at the WhatsApp ecosystem, like what's gonna happen there. That's a personal win. That's fine. But what's cooking at the WhatsApp? Just allow me a second. Yeah. So that's how 2 ecosystem looks like. You would like to break this down for the viewers?
Sure. So if you see, WhatsApp has around 38 to 40 million users. And in India, they are trying to crack the payment segment, which is the UPI part, where you see in your chat now there's a rupee logo where you can use to send money directly linked with your UPI. CRED, on the other hand, is almost just 2% of the size of WhatsApp, where the volume handled by CRED, even with that lower kind of members, is almost 5x of WhatsApp. So the UPI share of WhatsApp is 0.4%. For CRED, it is almost 2%.
Okay.
So that is one area where I think WhatsApp is looking to get into, and because they already have a distribution made, right? There is no distribution like WhatsApp. Everyone has WhatsApp, right? So
yeah,
that
right.
could be possibly one way they can use Kunal Shah's expertise. Second is actually NPCI, which is the National Payments who's regulating the entire space, wants to break the duopoly of PhonePe and Google Pay, where they have like around 75 to 80%, and want other players to come in.
Right.
So this is, I think, one step where they could possibly combine and have more synergy and attack that number 3 spot also.
So you are talking about a possibility that these 2 companies will do a collab or something?
Possibly, because I think everyone wants to break into the UPI market share, right? Even the regulator wants that to happen. So it could be interesting to see how that pans out.
Look, I believe I have a different opinion here. Like both of these companies have their own UPI. It's not taking off for WhatsApp. Like WhatsApp want to become some WeChat kind of ecosystem actually, which dominates in China. I haven't been there, but I have heard like it's a super app. So super app as in you can chat there and you can make payments and bunch of other things. So that's what WhatsApp wants to be globally. Because I don't think so WhatsApp works in China, right? So if you just reduce what's the population of China, like I think 15 odd percent or 20 odd percent for the world, right? Then 80% of the world is still lagging that kind of super app, and that's something WhatsApp can become. uh, Apart from that, like I was looking at number that Meta makes $60 billion profit annually in recent year. If WhatsApp somehow managed to, they have 3 billion global users. If they somehow manage to charge $1 per month for whatever the thing they offer, right? This will be additional $3 billion per month and $36 billion annually. So I don't know, I mean, how they're gonna do it, but considering they have 3 billion global users, they will be looking to offer something that can monetize. That can monetize their business and huge volume of messages and all. So that's the way they have already introduced Meta AI or those kind of things.
But in India, I think it's very tough as consumers have a very different habit, right? Everyone
Right.
wants one app for one like objective. Like if I want to order food, I want to go only on one app. I don't want my payments, my movie tickets, my other stuff to be on that same super app concept. In India, I don't think it will work, a super app concept. I think many people have tried it. Tata new app was there. A lot of people have tried, but people tend to stick to that one particular, like the best app in that particular field.
Let's see. I mean, CRED is trying to become that kind of app actually. At the moment, it's just not credit card payments app anymore. They also offer certain gold investing, certain lending. They also offer you personal loan or those kind of things. So that's how it is at the moment. So many possibilities actually when you are operating at such a global scale and you have so many users, you can do so many experiments. And also Meta is a profitable company. They can afford to lose some money, right? So they also recently launched that Meta AI, I think, in their WhatsApp. Nobody use it though, but yeah, you never know what comes up nicely, right? They are also selling
But
some mini subscription.
Meta is facing that pressure actually. If you see, they bought WhatsApp for I think almost 20 times for what they bought Instagram for, and it is valued at 1/5 of what Instagram is, because they've been able to capitalize on the entire creator ecosystem on Instagram and monetize it. But with WhatsApp, I don't think that's been the case. So there's pressure on them as well to take steps to capitalize on the unmatched distribution that they have.
So there is a dark theory around WhatsApp and Instagram that you may not see WhatsApp making direct money, but there is a theory that Instagram somehow managed to see what you are chatting on WhatsApp, and then you get those targeted ads actually on Instagram. So you can say it's a stage for Instagram ads or those kind of things at the moment. Indirectly, I don't know whether it's true or not, but yeah, that's the observation which has been there.
Right.
So, and one more thing to add on here, in this third episode, it's just, you will not see just our faces. I mean, we are trying to do something. We are trying to bring experts who can, share their insights on certain things, which like they got certain expertise better than us. I mean, we track markets and all, but these startups and fundings and all. So to cover this story, we have our guest. So Shreyans Salecha from Good Capital VC will be joining us in a while, and we will be looking for insight from his side. Yeah.
Hey guys, how are you?
Hi Shreyansh. How are you
I was
doing?
just listening. I was just listening to some of the things that you were talking about, and I think I'm quite glad that something has happened which has made people at large talk about what happens in startups, and not just us small group of people. So
Right.
I think that's a good thing. I was listening to some of the things I was saying, And I'll start by making some observations that on the things that you said. So the first thing is, of the deal that's happened, a large part of it is secondary, which means that
Mm-hmm.
existing investors get bought out. A lot of people get their ESOPs liquidation. So CRED, from what I know, is one of those companies where, a lot of people have ESOPs. They get liquidity, and I think it will create another ripple effect of a lot of people going out and then starting their own venture. So for an ecosystem at large, I mean, like Kunal Shah is the legendary angel investor that you've been seeing. Everything that you've been seeing on Twitter, it's true. And like everyone sort of talks about how he's been very helpful and stuff. So I think that is also one very big win for the startup community at large. I think my first knee jerk reaction is we've lost probably the most enigmatic, charismatic leader from our startup ecosystem. But I think these sort of things have a lot of downstream effects that we'll probably see in the next 4, 5, 6 years as lots and lots of people start up. Cool. We can get to the WhatsApp and CRED part as well. I see Dhanesh is on the side of saying that WhatsApp and CRED will work together, and Sumit disagrees
Yeah.
that they will go down their own journeys. I agree with Sumit a little bit on this. I think both are completely different value propositions. Both are completely different platforms. They target very different people. They have very different use cases. um, I do think there was, of course, somewhat like the capital that has gone in, somewhat of it is okay to get Kunal Shah on board, so that I don't disagree with. So we can maybe start with CRED. And I saw Sumit talking about how he got on CRED in 2020. I also tried it in like maybe 22, 23. I couldn't get through it, couldn't understand it, uninstalled it. And I actually reinstalled it a few days back because I was quite curious, like everyone, that what will happen. Um, and so I was also doing some research. It seems that in the last 5 to 7 years, the easiest or like the largest revenue pools in fintech were, one is your broking. So of course,
Mhm.
all the trading that happens and you make money on that, all the derivatives trading, not delivery, of course. The
Broker
second
makes money.
was broker makes money, like
Yeah,
Zerodha,
yeah. It's
Grow, now
yeah.
even done.
Retail
And
retails is still losing.
retailer doesn't make money. The house always wins.
Yeah, yeah.
You can shout it at the top of your voice. No one will listen to you, but it is the way it is. Um, then the second part was, of course, you have on the B2B side, you have PhonePe, you have Paytm, who would sort of make money through MDRs, and a lot of them have also, I think, gotten into lending to these merchants. So, which is the third thing that I think there was used to be a running joke in fintech that all roads lead to lending, because that is the
Hmm.
only way that you can monetize. But that is starting to change. So we're investors in some fintech companies as well. And so some of the things that we're seeing is that there is a lot of move towards wealth management and towards insurance distribution. So those have been two themes that have been really picking up. And I think whatever we've seen, I heard Sumit talking about how he like the market is very bearish on CRED. I think that's the general perception everywhere. But I don't think we've seen even a fraction of what CRED could become, because even till now most of their business is just lending, right? Like you don't really make a lot of money from bill payments, you don't make money on UPI and all of those things. Like lending is how you make money. There's some bit of brand sponsorships, partnerships, shopping, and all of those things, but lending is really the big thing. But lending is just one part of financial management, right? You have the one thing that is well known is you have the top 1%, 0.1%, whatever smaller group. And right now, you've just been giving them some very small loans, right? Which is more like an overdraft to them, to the best of my knowledge. Even I don't know how CRED's model works from the inside, but there is so much to be done for these people. And wealth management is probably the biggest of that. So I think I also used to do a lot of public markets research before I joined Good Capital. And in public markets, we had this tendency to always look at numbers and analyze companies through that, which is absolutely the right way to do it. But having spent a few years in early stage investing, I think I've converted a little bit to be able to see beyond what's obvious. And I think beyond beyond just lending, they're already going into insurance. I think wealth management could be a very big piece of it. I don't know for sure. That is my hunch. And when you have people with so much wealth, there is a lot to manage. You control a lot of, capital. There's a lot that could be done on the business side. I think there's lots of prospects. There's a very good there's still a very good bull case that could be made for CRED.
All right. So I have a question. Like, so you are telling me when was CRED started? Like 2018 or what?
Something around that
Yeah,
8
8 years.
years.
It's been 8 years.
So CRED is at the moment a basket of just top 1% people in
Yeah.
India. I mean, you can say richest. This basket is valued at $4.5 billion, and you are telling me that now they will be leveraging this basket and now they will be actually building the business. At the moment, it's just about keeping them together.
I think it was about keeping them together till maybe a few years back, right? Because the one thing that you have to understand, in just like in public markets, private markets also have their funding cycles. So 21, 22 was the peak of it. 23 started to die down a little bit, right? And since then, everyone has been trying to figure out how do we become sustainable, how do we make the best models. And of course, Zepto is a very good exception to that, because whenever you're creating disruptions, you'll always get capital. So I think they've already moved in that direction. And I think from what we know, what they've posted online is that CRED had its first profitable quarter. I don't know
Right.
what profit that is, whether it's cash profit, adjusted profit, I don't know. Right. But it does seem that the company is on the right trajectory. And yes, I do think that, now you'll really start to see a lot of what could happen. My hunch is they move very quickly from lending on to other things as well. I could be like terribly wrong at this also. But yes, I do think there's so much more to be done, because as you said, they're valued at 4.5 billion. uh, and if you imagine the net worth of the top 1% people, how much money they spend, how much assets they control, and what can you do for them, I mean, there's a lot you could do still.
Yeah. That's one of the highest in the world, actually. Like, India may seem a poor country by GDP per capita, but if we just put up 1% of another developed country or something, and we put our 1%, that's why we
Yeah.
feature, Adani and Ambani, those kind of people in billionaire list. Else it would have been. I
Our
mean, I don't see
concentration
any.
is very top heavy,
Look,
very top heavy.
yeah, like Bangladesh got GDP per capita higher than India, but we don't see any Bangladeshi billionaire or those kind of people, right, in top 100 or top 200. I don't know, like, but that's not the case with India. So yeah, right, this
So
could be a
Shreyans,
possibility.
actually, I have a question for you. Like that you understand the entire fintech space. Who do you think is the bigger winner here? Is it CRED because they've got now kind of exposure, like involvement by Meta, or is it WhatsApp that they have got someone like Kunal Shah who has master distribution?
I think it seems from the outside to be a very well negotiated deal. I'm sure it would have been in works for quite some time. Or we'll never know unless something comes out of it. I think Red, of course, gets the capital to be able to continue, and they'll, if they allocate that capital properly, which is the right thing to do, for all kinds of companies, then they could, go into lots of different things. And I think this could be a good segue to start discussing about WhatsApp as well, because we all know WhatsApp, like India is WhatsApp's largest market. And for the better part of the last 3, 4, 5 years, WhatsApp has been somewhere where it's also a personal app, but it's also a business app because of how the entire ecosystem works with Instagram, with Meta ads and everything. And I have very strong opinions on what sort of happens with Meta, or with WhatsApp per se, because I do think there is some sort of, you know like, there needs to be created some sort of clarity about what WhatsApp is, because it started as the personal messaging app. Now I think you get more promotional messages than you get messages from your friends. This community
Right.
is, there's god knows what, like, it's probably, I think the one common thing between CRED and WhatsApp is how many things that live on the app, which are very different from what's the
Yes.
core purpose. But I do think that, like, at least my personal point of view, and I've still been thinking about it, it's not been very long, is that you probably see some sort of an identity sharpening of WhatsApp. Now, whether it could be on the personal side, whether it could be on the business side, or it could be on both angles as well, because, like, WhatsApp, India lives on WhatsApp, like commerce in India lives on WhatsApp, where investors in companies that do, multiple crores of revenue per month, they are completely running on WhatsApp. So WhatsApp is India's commerce infra. It is CRM, it is marketing, it is everything in one, right? So it's heavily used in business. So I do think maybe there is some path down the line where you see WhatsApp getting a sharper identity, maybe, figuring out whether we focus more on personal, whether we focus more on business, how, or if we separate the two, how does it all work out? So I think there's something interesting to be done on WhatsApp along the lines. I think beyond just the financial investment, I don't see very directly a lot of collaboration between WhatsApp and CRED. I think it's just a good, well negotiated deal. Like both parties get what they want. Uh, so yeah, that's at least what I think.
So
Cool.
basically, credit benefited because of the man Kunal Shah again.
I mean, the entire Indian startup ecosystem has benefited from him. Investors, founders, operators, everyone. So yeah, I mean, sure.
It's it's just people like us. I mean, the market people judge everything on the basis of profit, right? So
You
so
have to. You have to. We need to have all kinds of investors judging all kinds of different things.
right. So that's why I get it. On your private side, CRED might be a nice company, but the normal case or the normal, as you said, consensus is actually bearish on CRED
No,
because
no.
it does not
Even
make.
yeah, even on the inside, I don't think a lot of people probably value CRED as much as they would want to, let's say, value Zepto or quick commerce or quick services, right? Because like every 2 years, 3 years, you have these cycles of different sectors, different companies, right? But the kind of thing that has happened, right, this is something that brings it back into the limelight. um, the leadership team at CRED is still very capable. These are people who've been around for long enough. All the investors know them. I think even public market and private to like even public market to some extent, private market investors definitely. So yeah, I think it's maybe in some way it's a revival, and now people might turn bullish even in private markets for CRED.
So I have a question actually. Last in the last episode, we were discussing how IPOs are not not the ones which you used to see. If you have invested 10,000 rupees in HDFC Bank IPOs and those kind of things. Now we see bloated IPOs. So are there companies, like what percent of the companies are just doing IPO for giving exit to their investors, or actually seriously raising funds?
No, I think you're right, because what has happened is because there's so much private capital available,
Right.
companies can push down going public much later into their life, right? And for what it's worth, my personal belief is if you're doing well, you will always get better better like capital at better terms in the private market, better valuation, more flexibility. You can move fast and break things and all of that. So of course, there's one truth to it, that companies are going public much later in their lives. So but I think that it's probably only been 2 years, 3 years since some of the startups have gone public. So it's a too short a timeline to judge what kind of value they create. Maybe we have this conversation 10 years down the line and they still haven't done well, then we can probably talk about it. I have a personal thesis that a lot of the startups that are going public, if you make an index of them, that probably outperforms the Nifty. Like, I mean, that is just my hypothesis, because I think there's a lot of market forces that are changing. There's a lot of my consumer attention that they control, and there is still a lot to be done. We all, we believe that okay, a lot of companies are tapping out of their addressable market, but the one thing that I've learned in private markets investing is that the people who are running these companies, they are some of the smartest in India, and you shouldn't bet against them. Like that's one thing that I have learned. um
So
and I
D2C,
think,
D2C
sorry.
could be the story, right? D2C in the public markets wasn't too much, like we didn't have too much exposure to D2C brands, right? Like US has. So we could be following some those kinds of trends, right? With
D2C has
consumption.
been the D2C has been consistently one of the hottest sectors in the last 2, 3, 4 years. And I do imagine a lot of capital continuing to go to consumer brands in the next 4, 5, 6 years. Right. I don't know how, if you can have unreasonably large companies like tech companies, like I don't know if you have a D2C brand that could be as valuable as a Zomato or Eternal or a Swiggy or a Misho, right? So that I don't know, but I think you'll probably have, like, uh, when you're 10-15 years older, that consumption basket, the brands, I think, will completely change. It could probably change in the next 5. It's already started to change for us who are in the top 1, 5, 10%, right? Everyone's consuming new and new brands.
True.
So like consumer is one of the strongest beneficiaries, or one of the strongest themes. And guess what, all consumer brands rely on this one thing that we all love to use daily, which is WhatsApp, because you get like their entire CRM marketing funnel, and a lot of uh, so I think there's a very interesting play there also on how sort of WhatsApp, like how there's so much potential in terms of how you can build business features in WhatsApp, because purely as a personal messaging app, you can see it's very bloated. It has a lot of things that you could remove and people will still like, you probably, most of its messaging, I guess video calling is the next thing, and then some voice notes, right? Everyone's putting marketing ke statuses, uh, you know like communities are confusing as anything, you just don't know what's happening on them. So I think WhatsApp as a personal messaging app is very bloated. WhatsApp as a business app is extremely, extremely early, or under, like there's a lot to be done on WhatsApp as a business app. So I do think, um, and I guess that is the part of, like, how do you sort of build a business that's deeply rooted into consumer psychology? How do you give people the feeling of having using a personal product, and how do you still manage to build something that businesses find valuable and can continue to use it? um,
Right.
I think those two are very different paths, but I think you have the right person to solve that dilemma.
And like I think Ganesh mentioned that it's really hard to monetize what 800 million users of WhatsApp, right? Like I have a weird case how they can monetize it. Everybody is using WhatsApp for video call, right? What if they start showing ads in between video calls?
Yeah, sounds like a terrible idea. I mean, that's the quickest way for someone to do video calls on Google Meet. No, I think this is, this question actually really personifies the dilemma with WhatsApp. Is it a business app? Do you want to make money from it? Is it a personal app, right? Or what direction do you need to go into? And look, I think one thing that you guys were talking about earlier was, Instagram is this valuable, or, this is how much commerce it produces. Meta doesn't care. Like, it doesn't really care about these small business units. It has a much larger fight. And see, other point that I wanted to make was that the point on how you have super apps in China, Danesh was talking
Hmm.
about, Sumit was also saying. So the thing is, what we're seeing in investing is that a lot of the interfaces are turning to AI agents, right? So you'll probably open, like you're opening your browsers less. You'll open a Claude or you'll open a Chat GPT, right? A lot of people have built custom tools so that they'll text on WhatsApp and they will place an order on Swiggy or Zomato or Blinkit or
Okay.
Zepto. So these things are already happening. So maybe there is a case to be made that, you know, a lot of apps will need to offer more and more for someone to open them, because everything then can be done using AI agents. So if you really think about AI agents, which is the most dominant consumer platform, how do you create, e-commerce value? And then if you really start to think of the bigger picture, then a lot of things start to add up, because one of the things we've been seeing is that your AI agents can do a lot of work today, right? So there is no need to open a lot of apps, and that is only going to accelerate. Today it's just hacks, right? Everyone's built some, open source project. You download a GitHub repo and then you install it on your terminal or on WhatsApp. Like we have agents on WhatsApp also that'll probably fetch my entire database. It'll tell me all sorts of things about people or companies that I've spoken to. So a lot of these things will keep on accelerating. So I mean, so there is a world in which a lot of these apps have to really fight to get on consumers, right? So any sort of work, commerce, consumer, uh, a lot of these things could get abstracted away into AI agents. Like entertainment stays entertainment because that you can't get, but who knows. But so that is really the bigger picture to be able to think about